What is up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Happy pre-Thanksgiving. Happy Chucky night. We got two very special guests with us tonight. One of them is not the two on the top. So we've got my buddy Stay Metal Ray down in the bottom right there. He's the one that does the intro music, the outro music for me. Very good dude. If you just saw CP's newest episode of 1999, he talks about one of his favorite movies from that year. So check that out for sure.
The most heartfart thing that series has ever produced.
Yeah. And then I went through the dark web and found this small little Channel 3C film. Figured I'd throw him a bone. So we've got Chris from 3C.
Hey. Well, it's finally nice to be here, man. I got a lot of respect for your channel. So
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it.
There's two other of us here.
Oh, yeah, you guys too. You guys too.
That other guy's good too.
I've always liked Cody's intro song. I didn't know you made it, man. So
dude, I threw that together in 6 hours. I was like, I got a riff that had been kicking around for like a couple of years, and it's just
6 hours. Holy,
it was amazing. Yeah, I was like, hey man, I was like, because I thought like I haven't done any kind of music production, so I was like, oh, this is probably going to take at least a couple of weeks. I don't know if it's even going to be like a respectful thing to ask. It's such a huge project, and I was like, dude, the intro music that I've used for a while, some jackass recorded vocals over it and claimed it, and so now it's got like this fraudulent thing going on that I'm fighting. Could you do an intro music? And then like by the time I sent the thing, he's like, yeah, here it is. I'm like, oh shit. And it's almost exactly what I wanted. It was the same as the other music, but like Raid.
Yeah. I mean, I've been a fan of Cody's channel ever since, even before I had a channel, like 2016, man. So like when you hit me up, I was just like, oh my God, the Ash Ketchum meme, like where he like puts his hat all backwards. Like this is my time to I've waited my whole life for this. I'm ready for it. So it was an honor, man. I threw it together. I'm glad you liked it, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's awesome. And he also did the intro music for my intro for this year's 31 on 31. He did a variation of Slipknot for me. So I knew who to ask. I was like, I need this, but I don't want it copyrighted. So
yeah.
a little legal Ray loophole there.
Right. Well,
the way that I usually start these guys, so we always have a different guest, and I want to get your guys' opinion on how the show is up to this point. And with you guys, it's basically the whole damn show up to this point. So I'll start with Chris. I know you're a big Chucky fan, just like me. For a while there, you were kind of like the Chucky guy on YouTube, if not still are. They already got some people on the chat saying Chucky boy. So how does Chucky boy feel about Chucky up to episode 7? Is the show meeting your expectations? Is it subverting them? Do you like where they're going? Is it a little weird? Fill me in.
I was very skeptical on the series first, because when Chucky already left theaters and became a straight to DVD type property, and so that was kind of sad. And then hearing it was going to go make a TV series, I didn't know how to feel about it. And then giving the show a chance, it was actually surprising me. Like, it has its hiccups, and sometimes it's cheesy acting, and sometimes the puppeteering on Chucky wasn't all that great. But like so far, especially with this last episode, I kind of like where they're going with it and the things they're setting up. So I've been pleasantly surprised by it when I thought I was just going to be kind of meh on it.
Gotcha. Ray, same question. I don't know how big of a Chucky fan you are. I don't know if we've actually talked about it. So if you want to throw that in there as well, like your fandom, what color it however you want, and then the show.
Yeah, for sure, man. So like my horror icons, my favorite ones are definitely Jason and Michael Myers. Those are like my two favorites, and then everything else is kind of like that's top shelf. Everything else kind of follows in suit. And Chucky's somewhere in between, Nightmare on Elm Street and Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, Child's Play is right in the middle. Like, not my absolute favorite, but certainly have a ton of respect and a ton of enjoyment with the series, hence why I'm here.
So that somewhere between Nightmare on Elm Street and Texas Chainsaw.
Please put that lower, please.
So, hey, not here to start controversy, guys. We're here to,
too late.
Child's Play. This is my first time, doing something like this. Give me a break.
No, go
ahead. But no, seriously, yeah. So I guess I'm a Chucky purist, if there is such a thing, which is interesting because Child's Play, everything's kind of one follows the next. There's no Halloween 3, Halloween 3, 4 different timelines.
Yeah.
So I really like the
first.
The continuity is pretty supposed to be streamlined, even though it kind of falls off the rails a little bit at some points. Getting to it, I really enjoyed the first two, Child's Play and Child's Play 2. Those are my two favorite. with that being said, the show, in my opinion, seems to have like elements of everything, to include like Chucky possessing a bunch of different dolls. Like we just saw in this last episode, there's like 40 or 50, Chucky dolls in the background, good guy dolls in the background. Like we don't really know what's going on there, but there's not one sole, Chucky. But that at the same time, there's like some really good kills, and there's some really good Chucky isms, like, some good one-liners. There's some, long story short, I'm kind of rambling. I enjoyed this series for what it is, and it seems like it's taking a bunch of elements from everything that has come before it. And up until, again, this last episode, the episode last night, I was like, there's some cheesy stuff, again, similar to what you guys were talking about, but there's some good elements. And I think the one scene, which we'll get into towards the end of the episode, that was pretty brutal. I was just like, oh my God, like this is pretty nuts, man. This is pretty cool. So like that was kind of like, honestly, my favorite part of the show thus far.
Okay.
And I guess we'll get into that. So I hope that sums up my Chucky fandom in a 90-second, 2-minute summary.
No, for sure. So so pretty much along the same lines. I don't know if you guys have watched any of the spoiler talks thus far, but like I'm pretty much well known. I'm a Chucky fanatic, always has been. Chucky got me into horror, so he's always kind of been very close to my heart. I was as skeptical as you could be about the show for similar reasons as Chris. I was skeptical enough when they went to straight to DVD, and then to go even further than that, I was like, oh, there's no way that we can come out of this unscathed. But I've been pleasantly surprised. Same thing as you. Like I've been doing episode to episode reviews, so I have chosen not to really harp on the acting or something like that, because I'd be saying it every single episode. So that's something that when I wrap up the show, I'll probably talk about a little bit more. It's got its flaws. It definitely has some budgetary constraints being on sci-fi, but for what it is, I think it's a fun show. It's going for that B-movie vibe. It's trying to please all Chucky fans, the ones that love the classic stuff, the ones that really like the out there stuff like Seed, the ones that loved Cult, the ones that didn't quite like Cult. So to me, it's doing a pretty commendable job at doing all of that. And it almost retroactively makes me like a couple of the movies that I didn't care for so much, because like Cult, because there was so much weirdness in that one as far as plot direction that is now kind of making sense in context of the show. So it was almost like there was a plan that we just didn't really know back then when we saw the movie. But thus far, I've been enjoying it pretty well. CP, I'll let you speak for yourself on how you've been doing with the show.
I'm sorry, a minor chat issue. What? Huh? Who am I?
If a train is going west at 35 miles an hour, and
let me get a pen.
No, just a quick, brief little wrap up for our two guests on how you've thought about the show so far.
Okay. So I thought the first episode was very front loaded, and they put a lot in that first episode. And not like I hated it, but I was labeled the curmudgeon from there forward, and it seemed like they were going in a direction where it was going to be like kids versus adults, because the adults kept doing stupid things, and the kids were always I don't know, prevailing, and it was moving at a pretty decent pace through episode 3. Then we have that turn in episode 4 where Lexi's like, hey, I'm good now we're a team, forget all my shallow habits, now I want to be a great teammate. And it was just like, all right, okay, I wanted her dead 10 minutes ago, but I guess I can go along with this. And it slowly started feeling a little Walking Dead-ish, and by that I mean, like trying to just stretch time. And it makes me wish that all that stuff they front loaded, they just like pulled it out and drew it out more, because I mean, 2 weeks ago, the mother character with finding out that she has cancer and then just dying like right after that, and it's just like, wait a minute, you set this big secret up for so long, she finds out, and then you kill her within like 15 minutes. What was all that stuff for? And last night, I guess we'll get into. I'm nervous. There's only 1 week left, and I'm like, I'm nowhere near this show appearing like it's over.
Surprise, there actually is 10 episodes.
That would make me feel better.
Yeah. We got one super chat from the Willmeister. Oh shit, Cody Leach and 3C Films in the same video. 3C, you didn't wear your Chucky outfit.
Oh, I'm actually going to a family function after this, so I think it'd be weird if I showed up in that.
I think it'd be weird if you didn't. So
That's what I'm saying, man. By the end of this stream, we're gonna have you change in clothes. That's just my goal. So, all right. So,
Can I be
kind of
Jason?
getting into the events of this episode? We'll start with the big one because that's the most plot really that we have to talk about with this episode is what happens with Junior, which is something that me and CP have been kind of speculating on as well as some of our guests that because Junior has been kept so ostracized from this group, eventually Chucky's going to have to see him as some kind of an opportunity. Like all these other kids are acting holier than thou. This little dickhead over here just looks mad every single day. So I'm going to go talk to him now. And they start to do that. You know, it starts off with the wake of I always call her Rowan from Jason X. So Rowan's wake. And we get this whole little plot where Jennifer Tilly shows up. I never know whether to call her Jennifer Tilly or Tiffany because it's all happening at once, and just my mind.
I have
can't
that issue
compute.
too.
Wait.
Jennifer
before
Tiffany.
Before you start, did they possibly have a better picture to use for her to zoom in on when they opened like her face? I don't know what it is when they start the funeral scene. Her pictures, she looks like somebody just farted in her face, and like that looks like this is supposed to be sad. What is this? I'm sorry. Progress.
I must have blanked that out. But
Yeah,
yes,
she
typically
just
in
has
a
a weird
wake, it's
face
like,
on.
what's your best picture? We're gonna put that here, not one where it's like the phone opens and you don't realize it. But so we have this whole plot where Jennifer Tiffany shows up and plants a big old fat one on Devon Sawa right in front of everybody and then just leaves. And immediately it's like, okay, so they're trying to piss Junior off. They're trying to make it seem like he's having an affair. And my first thought was CP was right. He just had the wrong parent. So if you guys, if you hadn't watched our spoiler talks for a while there, what CP thought was the big secret with the mom was that she was having an affair. And the reveal would end up being the person she is having an affair with would either be the entrance of Jennifer Tilly or the entrance of Fiona Dourif. And a lot of us thought that was a great idea, and then it was just cancer. And so it's been like a running joke that didn't happen. So anyway, it happened, CP, but it was Devon
sort
Sawa.
of.
So you
Nah,
were
he's
I'd
gonna
give you
get
credit
cancer
for
to
it.
die
I
next week.
think you called it. I mean, close enough, dude.
you were on the dartboard. It was just like the core part of it.
I was off by one.
You hit the wall, dismissed the board.
So they start setting up all these dominoes to knock down to where Chucky can manipulate Junior into basically saying, yeah, your dad's a prick. Like he calls him a sperm donor at one point. And then we end up by the end of the episode with Junior finally being the one of these kids to embrace the dark side and do some murder. So since we've kind of speculated on it a little bit, CP, did that surprise you at all? Or did you see that coming a mile away? Did you enjoy what they did with this character?
It made me feel good, like finally, because it seemed like Chucky was grooming whoever would listen. Because first it was Jake. First it was Jake, and then it was the younger of the blonde girls. Jesus, I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry. I'm doing faces.
Caroline.
Is it See? Oh, you don't even know. That's good. And then, sure enough, it's now Jake, but Jake is taking to it. So,
Junior.
Junior. Did I say Jake?
Yeah.
Well, you don't know, but Jake's taking to it too. But Junior's taking to. Actually, no, he even tried Lexi at one point too. He told her, "I'll let you live if you kill Jake." And so it's nice to see some, like he's had these, these moments where it's like, what exactly are you trying to do with these kids, man? Like, and for finally it to happen, and he gets Junior to pay it off. It excites me. Like that's the one thing that I'm like, ooh, are we gonna have some sort of are we going to kill a teenager, but not the way I thought we were? Because that's cool if you get it. Like I don't know, maybe he's another body to get into, or just something. It just leaves a lot of what ifs open.
Now, Ray, you alluded that was your favorite part of the show thus far.
Yeah, absolutely. Just because, like, I mean, kind of similar to what CP saying. It's like Chucky was just like pushing buttons with all these kids, presumably, like, throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall, seeing what will stick, and then when it finally stuck, so to speak, it's like, finally, and then like you see the scene, like Devon Sawa, opens the door, and it's like kind of, I'm assuming he's drunk or incoherent or whatever to some degree, and then you see like Junior, like something snapped, like. I'm like, all right, I was watching. I was like, all right, here we go. And I didn't think the scene was going to end the way that it ended with Junior killing his father with Chucky, which I'll get to in a second. But when it did, I was just like, oh man. And then they showed it, and I was like, this is nuts, man. This is like, this is regular television. This is pretty insane, dude. Like when it went there, it had the balls to go there and finally do it. And I didn't think it was going to, I thought that scene was going to end with them having a back and forth, like, well, screw you, you suck, Dad, you suck, whatever. And then you saw it finally snap in Junior's head, and then the next episode,
you're ugly.
Yeah. Like, oh, you're grounded, you're, you know what I mean? Like the cliche, all right, now I'm pissed. I thought that's how that scene was going to end. And then he was going to be like, you know what to do, or whatever, some cliche. But one thing that kind of confused me, maybe you guys can clear the air. Can Chucky feel pain? And is that a thing?
It depends on what movie.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, there's a point in Curse of Chucky where he gets stabbed and feathers come out, and it's like, well, wait, the longer he's in the doll, the more blood and human whatever. Okay, Don. And
right,
you just kind of have to. Yeah. The rules are like
okay.
Yeah. It depends on what the movie needs him to be. Then that's what he is.
And in that scene, the scene in the show needed, Chucky just to be the weapon, which I thought was kind of, if I'm being honest, I thought that was kind of lame. Like, I don't know if Chucky has ever been a weapon. You know what I mean? Like, that's just it like threw me off, man. It's like, I don't know, like I would have much preferred like a regular strangulation or a knife as opposed to Chucky being the doll. And
I'm not sure people would be all right with a kid stabbing his parent, though. Like, just for
a doll is better than a knife. I mean, like, is that much more civilized?
Dude, we have so many stupid kids in this country. At least if somebody tries it, they're just gonna be like, your dad's gonna be like, "What are you doing, stupid? Give me that thing."
If you're gonna do it, at least use a GI Joe. I get what you're saying, but I mean, like, go ahead, Cody.
No, it's fine. I wanted Chucky to have a line where he's like, "What the hell, asshole?" Like, because he's like, all you see is this from Chucky for like a minute.
Yeah, I want him to be like, "Ow," or like, "Hey, cut it out," something. And he was just like, "Whoa." I mean, that was kind of funny. It threw me off. I was like, "What is this, dude? What are we watching right now?"
Now I'm going to throw it over to Chris for a little bit of speculation. So I didn't really pick up on this. I had a lot of people in my comment section on my edited review telling me that this was like obvious. So you can correct me whether or not it was obvious to you or not. So when they show Chucky bashing Devon Sawa's head, they also cut to the dolls, the whole army of Chuckies in Charles Lee Ray's house kind of awakening. So was that some kind of a piece of a ritual, that's what he needed to activate all the other dolls, was a kid had to kill?
Yeah, I think that's what they implied by the end of it, and that's what Chucky's goal was. Because like that's the one thing that was frustrating me about the show is like from episode 2 at the very beginning, he mentioned to Jake, he's like, oh, I've got a bigger fish I'm after. And so we're like, okay, so he does have a plan for being in Hackensack, and we're gonna see that. And like CP is saying, like, we got one episode left, and it feels like there's still so much left to uncover that I'm like, how are they gonna do this all in one episode?
Yeah.
And so I was getting to the point where I'm like, if it's revealed Logan, Bree, whoever is just like someone from his past, I don't know if I'm going to be satisfied with that reveal, even if it's like a distant relative or anything like that. So then whenever Junior finally killed his dad, and then you see these dolls start popping up and coming to life, and the realization that's like, he needed a ritual. He was doing a spell, I guess, of some sort, leaning into that voodoo, because we were seeing the effects that like his like splitting of soul was not working all that well, because we saw Nica like flipping back and forth from Chucky to herself, because I guess he could only limit himself so far, to where he needed a child who was, I don't know, a virgin and innocent, or just a minor, whatever they explain with that. And Junior was the one to take it. So that's when I was like, oh, that's actually pretty awesome. I don't know if that's like half of his plan, though. Maybe next episode they'll show us what else is left to do with that. But yeah, that's what I took from it, is that it was a voodoo ritual spell, and they're kind of leaning more into that so that he can make, I don't know, hundreds of himself.
Yeah, see, I didn't quite put 2 and 2 together, because I guess we'll find out by the end of episode 8, but I guess I interpreted the Nika thing wrong. I thought that if he's inhabiting a body that already has a soul in it, then both souls are battling, and that's what that was about. But if it's just an inanimate object like a doll, we're all good. You can do it 100 times and you're fine. So I guess I didn't really put 2 and 2 together when I saw both cut together, until somebody pointed it out, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, I guess.
And that's not even your fault, because like I like what Don Mancini has been doing lately with Chucky, but he does not always do the best job with explaining out the voodoo or laying out the rules. And a lot of that might have been because he wasn't the one to come up with it. He'll tell you that, like, the original director Tom Holland threw in the voodoo, and Charles Lee Ray, and then for years he just kind of like played it off. I mean, like, even in Bride of Chucky, Tiffany learns voodoo from a book that's like voodoo for dummies. So it was always him never taking it seriously. And now he's finally like actually leaning into it, wanting to explore it. But I had the same thing in my comment section of people going like, wait, but in Cult of Chucky, he could already do that. So why would he need to do this for more dolls? Like, they don't really explain well his limitation or how powerful he can be with voodoo.
Yeah, it's like he purposely keeps it a little bit loose so that he can follow them and not follow them whenever he needs to a little bit. So yeah, that's why I wasn't quite I wasn't quick on that one. So I was curious.
I just wish they showed that village of Chucky's, like, just as like a throwaway shot, like a couple weeks back, so there's this impending doom. Like, all right, even if they get him, there's just 40 more of them. And finally, there was a Chucky that was named Billy, not Chucky or Tommy.
Well, as soon as he said Billy too, I was about to text you, but I hadn't heard from you. I figured you were asleep. I was like, oh, CP will be happy on that one. A couple super chats really quick. We got MKF30. Do you think they'll skip Chucky and John stuff? Well, it seems like the only flashback left right now is leading into the very first movie. So I don't know if they're going to have room for John, but I would be surprised if they don't explore that, because they've shown every other person in the flashbacks.
Yeah.
Orlando, hey guys, huge fan. What's your favorite and least favorite part of the show so far? By the way, I love getting high and watching this spoiler talk every week.
Hell yeah, dude.
Kudos.
My favorite part was probably when Andy and Kyle took out that one doll. I thought that was such a cool sequence. My least favorite part is the overdubbing of the voices in the 80s flashbacks. I'm not really a big fan of them doing that. Yeah, the first episode they did it, I was like, okay, you tried it, didn't quite work, and they've done it every episode since. And I just don't understand why. I'm like, if you had an actress with a little bit of a higher pitched voice, and you had Fiona Dourif doing her own version of her father's voice, we get it, and it won't be so distracting. Chris, how about you? Favorite and least favorite?
Favorite part had to be when Two-Face Melted Chucky was flipping off the kids at the end of that one episode. I thought that was such a badass moment. Least favorite is probably the most recent flashback scene in episode 7, where I felt it just became too cheesy. Like, I get it, it's cute, they murder and are in love, but just like when Tiffany was like, when's the last time you took me for dinner and murder? I was like, okay, that's a little goofy.
Oh yeah. Ray?
Favorite has to be the Halloween episode. Just like, I don't know, I just really dug that aesthetic, kind of like what you said, like in your video. Like any like of like the no matter what our shows were like growing up, like, I used to like watch like Rugrats or whatever, and I was like a little kid. Like the Halloween episode was like badass. Like it's just a cool
Oh, yeah.
thing. So like
Treehouse of Horror.
it's cool to see. Yeah, like exactly like that. I don't know. I really like that. It's just like a little added touch. And least favorite has to be the overdubbing and the flashbacks, and like I can't help but like see Tommy from The Room. Like in Charles Lee, right?
That's
Like
so
I just
true.
like
Yeah.
and like just the way he
Well, hi,
like he keeps
Tiffany.
his face hidden in the shadows, and he like kind of like walks around like this. That's like all I see, dude. It's like I know it's paying homage to the original, but like it's just so corny and so goofy looking. I don't know.
I did not kill her. I did not.
Yeah, it's like that's all I see, dude. Like
CP.
Well, the favorite has to be the talent show.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, that was
That
good.
that's fun times.
You're all a bunch of fucking assholes. Good night.
Yeah. Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
And like just like the line of flashbacks last night, like it feels like they've reached a point where they're just like trying to like spread time. Like, we killed a pizza guy, and in the land of the real world, the pizzeria would be like, hey,
Exactly.
where Steve left like an hour ago to this
this
specific
address.
Yeah. and again, like was fuck, who brought it up? Shit, man, my brain's total shit right now about the lovers quarrel thing.
Yeah, that was Chris.
Yeah, sorry, Chris. It felt like oh, you're doing like the cheesy cliche,
Yeah.
you don't take me out for dinner anymore thing, and you mixed it with killing. Like I get it. Somebody laughs at that, but come on, guys, come on.
I'm with you. Jesse says almost as many Chuckies as Spider-Man in No Way Home. Allegedly, we'll find out.
Allegedly, yeah.
Oh Lord. So that was the biggest thing that happened in the episode, is that you got Junior finally joining in on the murder. I was kind of surprised that he didn't go for Jake before his father, because there was a moment where Jake was there, and then it showed him like leaving, and he was sitting there with a knife, and I thought he was gonna like follow him through the woods like Jake did to try to do to Lexi. But nonetheless, Devon Sawa goes out. You get one drunk Devon Sawa that dies immediately, and then as soon as the other one turns into a drunk, he dies. So there might be a little bit of a subtext of don't drink, kids.
Yeah.
So
or don't have drunk dads.
Yeah, exactly. I laughed too, where there was a line in the show to where, I mean, the kid's mother just died, and then he's so emotionally distraught that he walks up and literally punches out his cousin. And his dad's just like, hey, you shouldn't punch your cousin. Your coaches might not like that. They'll kick you off the team. And it's like, what a fucking dick. Like, I just laughed at that. I'm like, dude, you're so oblivious. Beyond all of that, so we got try to tiptoe around this because I know you could easily step on some toes. You have a little bit of relationship development with Jake and with Devon, to where Devon, in light of his mother dying, is packing up. He's leaving town, talking about staying with his aunt. And you have this scene to where they're kind of breaking the news to Jake about, I'm leaving. I got to get out of here. I'm scared. I don't want to be part of the anti-Chucky crew anymore. And there's a line in it to where Jake stops and he says, there was many times that I wanted to leave town after my mom died. And then Devon turns to him and says, well, why didn't you? And I was like, no, they can't say it. And Jake's, you. Now, I had a little bit of an issue, not with what happened, but just I'm not really buying into the relationship. I'm fine with the relationship for any jackass that's going to listen to what I'm saying and take it the wrong way.
Uh-huh.
I think it's one of the stronger parts of the show, and it's certainly the stronger narrative that they've given Jake. I mean, that was a big piece of the first episode that made you just feel for the kid so much because of the way his dad treated him. Yeah. But I'm not really buying into the relationship because there's so many times like that where there's this key moment and they're just telling me. They're not really showing me. They don't really feel like they really love each other. And so Jake's saying like, oh, I had this horrible home life and my mother's death that was absolutely horrific for me. I stick around because I could see you in class once in a while. And until the first episode of the show, from what I could tell, they never even spoke. So it was just like a distant crush.
Right.
So I don't know, something about the way that they're developing the relationship between these two. I don't know if it's the dialogue. I don't know if it's the performances of the two kids because they're younger and not as experienced, maybe to take on something like that. I don't know. I'll push it over to CP and we'll go around the horn. Is the relationship working for you thus far? Or are you kind of hitting that rocky road that I am as far as the writing?
The relationships and the character building as a whole has been kind of sloppy throughout the series because they're twice in this episode. Well, first of all, at the funeral, the kids say, "We're sorry," and it's like, yeah, you were standing next to him. You could have said it then too. You've probably been with him since the thing happened. And then when Lexi says we're family, it's like, no, you're not. You know together for like 2 weeks. What do you mean we're family? And what?
No, that was the precursor to when that whole thing happened with Lexi, to where I'm like, oh, you're going too far with her now. Like, it was so. They hammered so hard on her being despicable in the first 3 episodes, and now they're pushing so hard the other way where she's like, we're family, and it's like, ugh.
Yeah,
we need like 20 more episodes to make that work.
Yeah, and then Jake drops the L word. I think he says love, and I'm like, oh, if me as a teenager can tell you anything, don't use that word. And it just doesn't why can't things just breathe a little bit in this show? Because they took time in like 5 and 6 or 4 and 5, but it's just too much too quick. Even when Chucky kills the first girl with Tiffany, and then she instantly falls in love, and now they're a couple. It's just like, that's it, huh? You just needed to be with a guy that murdered somebody in front of you? Oh, all right. Good luck on Tinder.
All right. I got one comment. This was the type of response that I got a lot on my edited review. They absolutely set up his crush from the first episode with the scene on the bus. What more do you need? I understand that they set up the crush. I'm just simply saying that I don't buy into the crush being as strong as they're trying to present it as, because I'm just not buying it. They're telling me it's that strong when I'm not really feeling it. I get that he had a crush. He was listening to his podcast and hiding it whenever he came to the table. I'm not a moron. I saw all of that.
Yeah. Nor was it mutually shared. It's not like, you had moments where, no. It's got to be a two-way thing, and it's just play with it a little bit instead of just Jake, having a hard on for.
And perhaps I'm just not a romantic. I know kids. I know kids are ridiculous, and when you're young, especially in junior high and high school, you think your first crush, that's it. If it doesn't work out with that person, then I've lost love forever. And I know kids feel that way. So if they're going for that type of thing, I get it. But just from a writing standpoint, there's that whole thing about show don't tell, and I just feel like they're telling me all this, and so that's all I'm saying is that I'm not
good
feeling
point.
it. Yeah.
You have a full series. Show us. Take the time and show us. Don't tell us. Get going.
Ray, how have you felt?
I don't know. I think I'm somewhere in the middle between you guys. I think the issue is just like, I think Cody, you said it, like they're running out of episodes, and I feel like they have to do the Chucky thing, they have to do the horror thing, the killing thing, and then they also have to develop characters, and it's like it feels like we're like episode 7. Oh man, we gotta develop out this relationship.
Yeah,
and like I honestly, man, I think I kind of buy it. I think more than you guys a little bit, but I just think it's just like, I think the issue with me is just, I don't know. It just feels like it's what it is. It's another property trying to capitalize on Stranger Things. That's all I can think about. Just like with Kid, just like another property where a band of kids are getting together, and it's a coming of age tale, and it's like that's been done since 2016.
It's been done since 1984.
It has, but it took a break. And I bring up Stranger Things because that's when it made it nostalgia.
Yeah, reignited.
Like now
yeah.
it's just like, yeah, like now that's like with everything, man. And it just feels like, just kids don't talk like that. You're just like, it's like they're obvious dialogue lines, not like, I mean, listen to how we talk, man. Like, at least I talk the same way I talk, when I was 11 years old, like, full of dudes, mans, and curse words. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't talk like in a very poetic, angelic, delivery of my lines. You know what I mean? So like, when it gets to like that like cheese factor of like, expressing true love to whomever, like, I don't know, I kind of check out, because it's like, man, we don't talk like that. So
Yeah.
I buy into like the relationship and the crush, like, I buy into that. It's a combination of like episode 7 of 8, and it's like some of the lines is like a little too on the nose for me, of like, man, we don't talk like that. So
Yeah,
That's-
they kissed for the first time last week.
yeah. There's some episodes that are better than others. I'm not saying that I haven't bought it the
For
whole
sure.
way through.
Yeah.
There's been, I mean, the weird part about it for me was that there was so many episodes where I was almost expecting Devon to have some kind of a weird plot, because he was being so odd about tape recording him without him knowing. And every single time that Jake would kind of lose his train of thought or whatever, he would always put his hand on his shoulder. And it kind of felt like he was grooming him for something or trying to get something from him. So by the time they kissed, I was like, oh, okay, so it's legit. And then by then I've been playing catch up, and now that it's full on head over heels. And I was like, whoa, slam on the brakes. Hang on. I'm not there yet. So Chris, how have you felt about Jake and Devon, how they've developed them throughout the show?
Yeah, I think I'm the same way, where like I buy into it. I'm fine with where it's going. I think I just buy more Jake loving Devon than the other way around. I never really bought
Correct.
Devon, like,
Correct.
because of what you were saying. He was acting kind of weird and strange with the recordings, and I don't know. You're right. Every time he would like go to put his arm on Jake, or like show some sort of physical affection, like it just didn't feel natural. It felt like there was a second motive behind it, like he was trying to do it would sometimes come off creepy and whatnot. But like this episode, I liked how he was like, no, I'm done. I don't want to mess with Chucky. I lost my mom and this, and like I thought that was actually a really cool turn and whatnot. And I think you are with the limited episodes and the way they're really trying to rush through whatever the ending is for this. Like I wasn't buying into the use of the L word, loving each other, but I'm buying it just fine.
Oops, hang on.
Now you're Chucky.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine.
All right. Oop, Ray was texting me back. So while we wait for Ray to come back, so the other part of it, which CP touched on slightly, was Lexi, which was actually kind of the beginning of where I started to be like, oh, we're starting to rush through some things a little bit, which might have added to the Jake and Devon part. There he is. There he is. Hey,
switch spots.
I was getting the spinning wheel of death.
Yeah, it just started spinning, and I was like, oh, look at that. What's going on?
Yeah, okay.
So what we were talking about, Ray, is the CP brought up about the whole thing with Lexi saying that we're family. So we're going to start talking about how they've developed her character thus far, because I don't know how you guys have been. CP was quick. Like as soon as the costume came, he's like, okay, she has to die this season. That's all I really need. That's my number one need. And I was pretty close. That was like my number 2. But they hammered so hard in episode 2 and 3 with the costume, and then her just being insufferable. We'll just say that word. Keep it PG. So insufferable. And then as soon as Chucky was going for them, they kind of banded together. It took me about an episode and a half, and I was like, okay, like I can buy into them being friends now. You know, kids are stupid. It's whatever. As soon as you shut up and realize you got something in common, sometimes best friends can be enemies before, whatever. I get it. Right. But then they stomp on the gas again with what CP said, where she's like, you weren't even going to tell your family? And he goes, what family? And she's like, the family you chose, me and Devon and everybody. And I was like, oh no, we need like 9 more episodes for that. Sorry. So I'll kick it back to Ray. How have you felt about Lexi as a character throughout the show? And did that line work for you, or did that feel like they were kind of skipping a couple chapters?
Yeah, dude, it didn't work at all. It's just like I like for a second, like, I don't know. I was just like, had this like thought of like I panicked. I was like, oh no, like I missed an episode or two. I feel like I missed something. Because like all of a sudden it's like no, like we're like I don't know what's going on. But then like I like fact checked myself or whatever. Like I was like no, like I'm where I'm supposed to be in the show, and it's just like wait a minute, like you like completely like did a 180, and there's character. I think what the show's trying to do is like character development and like have a character arc, which a good story should have, but it's just like there was
Not
no
on
like
twists though. No twisting on dimes. It's like
yeah, it's
okay,
not like
now
all
you're
of a sudden
good.
like yeah, it's just like whoa, wait a minute, like yeah. So to answer the question, it's just like yeah, I don't like the character, and like I'm not like on her team all of a sudden. I'm not like rooting for her or whatever. It's just it was very weird, and like what family, us. It's like wait, what? Yeah, it's like kept making that face,
Bitch,
like
please.
yeah, exactly. Like what are we talking about here? So no, it's not working for me.
I think the problem was they just hammered so hard and they did such a great job at presenting her as despicable in the first couple of episodes that it's almost like they did too good of a job because it's so hard to redeem her for people. If they had just toned it down a little bit, if they just did the costume and maybe episode 3 when Junior loses his shit on her and is like, "What? That was ridiculous. What are you doing?" Maybe she sees the error of her ways and was like, "Oh crap, okay, maybe that wasn't very funny." I could buy into it a lot more. That would have been a much smoother transition, but it was like hard hate to now family. It's like, all right, this isn't Fast and the Furious, but Chris, how have you felt about Lexi as a character, and are you bought into the whole family thing, or is it just skipping a couple chapters for you too?
Yeah, say it is skipping a couple of chapters because I was right on the hate train for Lexi especially after putting on the costume of Jake's dead father and whatnot. Like that was just really a step too far, and I felt like it was the writers thinking they really could do that quick arc change, and I'm just not there yet. Like I'm okay with Lexi. I don't know if like she died next episode, if I'll feel bad or if I'll just be indifferent to it because of everything.
Oh,
but
no.
I just don't think they bought into the to that family dynamic, even though I was really liking them. Like when they were in the hospital for the first time at the bottom looking for Chucky, I did like the interaction between them, but I felt like we needed 2 or 3 more episodes of that interaction before you can even say family. They've like gotten together like twice, and now they're supposed to be unbreakable.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. A couple of super chats really quick. We got, I'm ready for Lexi's mom to die, but she does make Lexi seem more believable. You think her mom will die in the finale? Happy Thanksgiving, fam. Hope everyone has a safe holiday. I hope the same for you.
And to you.
She's the only adult left. I mean, Lexi's the only person who's walked away unscathed as far as not being orphaned by the end of this 8 episodes. So we'll see. She's certainly, it would make sense if she was like the big target for Chucky because she is the mayor. I
was just gonna say that her taking over or Chucky taking over the town and then spreading from there.
Yeah, exactly. The Willmeister, not an episode to watch medicinally, but I've had to because I've been sick. I loved Jake's kill in this episode, but it, along with some of the camera choices and angles, were hard to watch. Okay, interesting.
Where are we at for oh sorry,
go ahead.
I was gonna say for Miss Fairchild, like how they did all this stuff to frame her and all that. Like, do you think that's part of Chucky's plan, or that was just coincidentally all this stuff happened to be leading to her?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't pay that teacher any mind whatsoever until like 19 people over the past 2 episodes have swore up and down that that's going to be revealed to be Glenda.
Yeah, and just because of the red hair or whatever.
Yeah, and right there. See, the very as soon as I say that, she's Glenda. So don't get me wrong. I'm going to be genuinely shocked if Don Mancini does not bring back Glenn or Glenda by the end of these 8 episodes. To me, it's just like that's the one card that he hasn't played yet, and he loves that character. Like he's not taking the fan base aside with that one. So I will be shocked if he doesn't bring one of those characters in. I don't really know how that would make sense. They would have to do a lot of explaining in one episode for that to make any sense to me, and that damn sure better not be the see you next season tease at the end where it's like, hi, Dad, cut to credits. Like, what the fuck? Explain that to me. So I really don't know. If it wasn't for all the people swearing that was Glenda, I would not have paid any mind whatsoever. It was just somebody easy, but they did deliberately have a scene where she's sitting there and they gave her a couple more minutes of screen time aside from her just getting carted away really quickly. So
and that little nugget of like, well, you have a history of like juvenile school or whatever, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. So I really don't know. It feels like they set something up to be revealed there, but I was a little surprised they didn't mention her at all this episode. So there's a lot of things we got to tie up in one episode where I'm like, are we going to get to all of this?
I heard rumors that the next episode is like an hour and a half long. I don't
Is it?
know. I don't know. That's what I heard. I'm not too sure.
I don't
about that,
know.
but I
So
had a ton of people comment that saying next episode is like an hour and a half.
That would make sense. There's been a lot of confusion on the length of the season because you had IMDb and a bunch of websites saying it was 10 episodes. You had Wikipedia, I think, saying it was 8. And I was convinced it was 10 just because that seems to be kind of standard until I was told from somebody involved in the show, no, it's 8, like definitively. Yeah. And ever since then, they've done the little previews where they're like 3 episodes left. Okay, that adds 8. We're good. So that would make sense. They're going to need, exactly. 2, 8. But they're going to need an extra half an hour to wrap up all the things, especially if she's going to be involved. CP, have you thought of anything with that red-haired teacher, or is that just the chat putting that nugget in your head makes you curious?
I think the red-haired woman is a red herring, to be honest with you. I don't,
that'd be clever.
I don't think it's much of
I get it. Yeah.
any. It always felt off, but there's a couple of things that have felt off during this series. So. Nothing would surprise me at this point because there's been so many curveballs and so many like, cancer. Oh, never mind. Dead. She hates him. Oh, nope. Now they're on the same team. Oh, now they're a family. Okay. They're in love. Oh, now they're splitting up. Okay. Cool.
Just kidding.
Yeah. So I don't think she's part of any scheme, but I wouldn't be surprised if she was anything. When we talk about next week, remind me about the trailer. But yeah, I don't see anything.
The coming or the next week on Chucky or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I stopped watching them, so yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
they
gave away too much sometimes.
Well, I'm talking about the season trailer.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'll try to remind you. Ray, have you thought anything about the red-haired teacher, or are you with CP?
Dude, no, not at all, man. I'm just like, I just kind of what CP was saying. Like, there's so much going on. It seems like there's like damn near 2 seasons worth of things going on in 8 episodes. So it's like, it's like wait a minute. All right, so like, are these people are here? All right, and then now Andy and Kyle are here. Oh wait, now these guys are fighting about the relationship. All right, now Junior's killed his dad. All right, now Fiona Dorff's in the basement. All right, now we're doing a flashback. It's like, dude, like what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like there's like 10 stories going, and it's just like, dude, I'm not the smartest person in the world. Like, I'm just like, I'm a simple guy. I like a guy at a hockey mess chasing around a bunch of camp counselors, and it's like, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2, final girl. All right, we'll figure it out, and then jump scare at the end. All right, like that's my formula. So like this,
he's doing it for his mother. That's it. No more questions.
Exactly. It's like, oh, he's going after his sister. Like, oh, I see this. I know how this goes. Like, like that's like my level of like thinking for like these kind of, dare I say, cheesy 80s horror movies. But like, now it's a TV show. There's so many different like plot points, and it's just like I feel like I'm like my eyes are ping ponging back and forth between all these timelines and storylines. So to answer your question with the red hair woman, I didn't even think of that until I think you said it in today's video, or the recap of episode 7. Like, people are saying it's Glenda. I was just like, dude, I'm not going to pretend like I was like, yeah, I saw that. I could easily lie, be like, yeah, I've been seeing that since episode 1. Yeah, I could easily lie, and be like, yeah, that's what I've been, thinking this whole time. But nah, dude, like, I had no clue. And then when somebody brings that up, I'm just like, now I got to pay, more attention to that. I got to put energy towards that potential plot point. It's like, dude, there's so much going on. So I don't. If it happens, cool. I don't think it's going to happen though.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it is. It's weird. Something's going on there, but that'd be a big stretch. Mr. Bates, Hey guys, just joined in. We all know Chucky can't physically die, but isn't he capable of dying from old age? I wonder if that's how they're going to end the franchise when Brad passes away.
Ugh.
Well, I would assume
Bite your
whatever
tongue.
vessel he's in, there's like a reset button. So that's why he was
Basically.
trying to get into a child so that he could, have an entire lifetime ahead of him. But I don't even want to think about
exactly.
Brad Dourif's passing.
Yeah,
but
on.
yes, that will pretty much end the franchise because
Can't-
I'm the type of guy that says recast Freddy. Like Robert Englund's, he's done enough. He's good. He's done his service. You can't redo Chucky's voice. Like as much as I enjoy the remake, we proved you can't really do it without Brad Dourif.
The one thing that's been consistent is Chucky's been Chucky. If anything, with all these other curves, Brad Dourif and the Chucky jokes and all that stuff has 5 stars. It's been what I would want it to be.
Yep.
Absolutely. The Willmeister, maybe it was because I was high coming down, but I was starting to buy into the idea of Jake and Lexi possibly even being friends in a Spider-Man Venom kind of way, but then she called herself family. Yeah, see, that's what I kind of thought. It was just like, we're working together, like, we're cool, but, I'm not going to hang out with you on the weekends type of thing. But then she said family, and I was like, oh, I was wrong. Make sure I didn't miss any more. And we're caught up. Okay, so the last two
guys
things.
take in some substances when you watch this show. That's
I know.
that's what I'm learning.
I usually have my my ice water. I'm going bitch mode on this.
I get drunk on the caffeine. That's really it for me.
CP's putting some chemicals.
Yeah.
Sean Sheridan, given the success of this TV series, do you all still want a sequel to the remake? And what would you like to see in a sequel to the remake? Won't harp on that too long because we only got about 10-15 more minutes left, but I think that the success of this show is actually going to put the nail in the coffin for the sequel, in my opinion. But I would love to see a sequel because I really did enjoy the remake, and really the main thing that I had an issue with was the design of the doll, and that's the easiest thing to fix. You got a new model of Chucky, and he looks much better. Carry on.
Yep.
So
I agree.
yes, I would take it.
Chris,
Ray agrees.
Chris,
CP.
Chris, did they announce a season 2 yet?
No, but I'm pretty sure they're probably going to get it. They've been talking so much about how it's like the highest viewed cable
Yeah, it's
show or
successful.
something like that. So it'll probably get another season.
Yeah,
That's rad.
Which I don't know if I thought maybe they were going to do like a season, then a movie, a season, and a movie. But it feels like they're going to milk as many seasons as they can, and then the show gets canceled. They'll probably jump back into movies.
Yeah.
We don't need you anyway.
Can't fire me. I quit. I got a deal on Netflix. CP, I know you probably yes. Would you want a sequel to the remake?
Yeah, sure. Why can't they both coexist?
Yeah, I was kind of like that. I'd be fascinated to have an honest conversation with Don Mancini and with some of the cast members and be like, what really was the hate with the remake? Because unless there was something behind the scenes that I didn't know about, it really just seemed like bitterness. I've heard that maybe the existence of the movie put the show into a bit of a question mark, and maybe that's why they didn't like it, which I would understand.
I think the only thing it affected was the show was originally going to be called Child's Play, but then with the reboot, they were like, "Oh, well, that's called Child's Play. Guess we're calling the show Chucky," and that was like really the only big change that happened to it.
Possibly, yeah.
I think Chucky's a better branding thing anyway. Like, like people know it as Chucky. It's like, calling it Child's Play. It's like people that aren't diehard. People that are casual fans of horror, they just think it's called Chucky. Child's Play is like, oh wait, that's the literal name of the franchise. So Chucky, just the name is a better branding, and I think it's probably why the show, one of the many reasons why the show is actually very successful. It's like we know who that is.
Yeah.
For the sake of competition / quality, I would almost want a sequel to the remake, and the show would be like, oh, you think you're good? Watch this. And like just to make them like try harder and like really show what Chucky is. Just a little friendly competition between
a little healthy
IP.
competition. Get some artwork of Mark Hamill like this. Spaceman's kind of following my thinking. It says bring back Chris Serrano for season 2. I do feel like it's going to go the Cobra Kai route, to where every season's going to be, hey, we got this guy back now, and then season 3, like, oh, we got De Silva from Child's Play 3 back in this season, and that'd be cool to me. So the last couple things that I wanted to talk about regarding this episode is what we got regarding Fiona Dourif and Tiffany and where their relationship is going, as well as Andy and Kyle. So we'll start with Andy and Kyle because that was the shortest, and that's just pretty much speculation at this point. So they're still on the way to Hackensack, and he sees that she has some kind of a significant other. I don't know if it's a husband, a boyfriend, or it might even be a brother. Who knows? She's got a loved one, Kyle. And so Andy locks her out of the car and drives off to go to this presumably final battle without her. And I'm sure she's going to show up anyway. But
save Andy last minute.
Yeah, exactly. So that was kind of where I was going with it is, do you feel like Andy's going to die this season, or is he going to get close, or is Kyle going to be his saving grace? I had speculated that maybe there'd be something cool to where Andy dies and she's got to put him in a doll to save his soul. And then we have a good guy in a doll. But I'll start with CP and we'll go around the horn. So how do you feel they're setting up the final thing with Andy and Kyle?
I think the second he locked that door, he was taking a, I'm going to end this one way or another.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat. But again, from the trailer, we see them both with guns, and we have not seen that yet. So,
valid point, Chris.
Yeah, it felt like they're trying to set up a noble sacrifice, and I really like Alex Vincent, and I like his return as Andy. I would be devastated if they killed him off and whatnot. I just don't know how much of the other fan base would be like, is that hell bent on seeing Andy continue on and whatnot throughout the series. I definitely think it was just a setup of like, we're going to see Andy in a situation where it looks like he's about to die. And of course, Kyle comes in last minute with a shotgun or something.
That'd be neat too.
Helps out. I do like that idea though of putting Andy in a doll or something, because I've had someone mention like, if it's so easy that anyone can learn voodoo, why hasn't Andy taken the time to learn it and use it against Chucky?
Yeah, just eavesdrop. They do a double law. All right, cool. Watch me in this Barbie, guys.
yeah, exactly. Buzz Lightyear doll. That's the one I'd pick. But yeah, I don't know. That just thought that'd be cool. That's the one thing we haven't seen yet out of this franchise is somebody good being put into a doll. So I thought that'd be kind of a neat thing. And if you steal it, Don, we all see it. If it happens in season 2, it was my idea. I want credit. Ray, how do you feel about where they're leading Andy and Kyle?
Yeah, I mean it's so cliche, but I love, like, I'm a big fan of like cheese. It's like it's very 80s action, early 90s action. Like it's like what it is. It's like it's Halloween H2O, where Jamie Lee Curtis gets out of the car and Josh Hartnett and his girlfriend like dip out, and she like sacrifices herself. It's like the equivalent of that in that like, kind of common plot theme or whatever. But yeah, I mean obviously she's gonna come back and like gonna like come like in Terminator 2 where Arnold comes over the thing with the shotgun like at the last minute, and it's gonna be like that, like so like epic, and like yeah it's like blows Chucky away at the very last second. It's like we know this is gonna happen, but I'm all for it. I'm here for it. So that's my guess is not original. It's kind of what we're all saying, but
gotcha.
I don't see what else they could do. Like, what, she just not going to show up? Like, that's it? That's it, like,
the hell with you little shit. That would be perfect.
All right. Like, you just cut to her. She's like on the couch watching TV. Like, obviously she's going to show up.
Local man killed in Hackensack. Oh shit, that sucks. Next, Stranger Things.
Knew I should have taken that sooner train. Damn it.
Yep. Couple super chats, and then we'll wrap up talking about Chucky and Tiffany, or Fiona and Tiffany, whatever you want to call her. The Willmeister. If George A. Romero's Dead series is an example, the show and remake can coexist as their own entities. I think that they can, but I need to know more context. All I can do is judge off the information we have, which is very little. Yeah. King George, would you all want a sequel to this version of Chucky, or would you all rather have more seasons? So a movie or seasons. Now that they've set up the show, if the show succeeds, I would rather them stay the show format until they've wrapped up whatever the show is doing. Because if they go 8 or presumably 8.5 hours of TV and then go back to one movie, it's going to feel small scale again to try to follow all the things that they're setting up. So they have to wrap up the show first before they go back to a movie, in my opinion.
The show has like everybody back. It's like getting the gang back together. Chucky looks right. It's Brad Dourif. Like, it's literally like I like the remake a lot, but it's literally like the only thing different is it's a TV show. Like apart from that, it's literally what we want as Child's Play fans. So it's kind of hard to like beat that and say like, no, I want Aubrey Plaza more, even though I really like this. Just, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of
Wait, if we're just asking about Aubrey Plaza, I'm in. I don't...
oh, dude. I mean, me too.
Great minds. Pinocchio's Revenge. Very fitting name for the live stream we're having. 3C, welcome to the show. Maybe it's the Taylor and Coke. Sailor and Coke I'm drinking. Everybody is just
I'm telling you, man.
But it's strange seeing you out of character. Can you get the crew to stop sleeping on Pinocchio's Revenge? I love these spoilers. So I guess, are you a big Pinocchio's Revenge fan, Chris?
I have not seen that one. I know I need to see.
We're all haters together.
What's going on?
I don't know what we're talking about.
There you go. Would you watch a crossover between both Chuckies where they go all DC or multiverse with Chucky, and Andy seems like the Dr. Loomis of Chucky now? I could see that comparison. And no, that will never happen. Not in a million years. You'll see Marvel and DC in the same movie before you see Don Mancini bring Buddy over.
Probably.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about, they didn't really hammer anything home with this, so it's all going to be just pretty much speculation here. But you had Fiona Dorff tied up from the last episode to where Tiffany basically said, I like you more than Charles. Like, we're going to do this bound thing for a while because I'm kind of tired of his bullshit. And she gets released at the end, and she has now reverted back to being Charles Lee Ray. So my question for you guys, and I'll go the opposite way, I'll start with Ray, is do you feel like they're setting up some kind of a conflict between, I'll call her Chucky Prime, Chucky Fiona, Chucky Nica, and Tiffany? Do you feel like now that he's released, he's going to be pissed at Tiffany for tying him up? Did he even hear all the things that Tiffany said? Is he like, you know, is it Get Out to where he's in the sunken floor, but he can still see the little TV screen and everything that she's saying? Or do you think it's was just to be a twist that he let out the bad guy by accident and there's not going to be any
Dude,
conflict?
to be completely honest, man, I'm very confused with that plot point. It's like, it's kind of what I was saying like 20 minutes ago. It's like, it's another thing that like, I have to like sit and think about. It's like, I genuinely don't know what, like how that's going to be tied up. So I don't know, man. Like, I guess I would honestly like to hear what you guys have to think, because like, I really can't think of like what, other than, like some sort of conflict of like, you know, Chucky, you know, real Chucky being pissed at Chucky Prime or whatever, you know, like, I don't know, dude. Like, I'd like to hear what you guys have to think.
Chris?
I'm going to be straight up. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense because it's always however much time Chucky and Tiffany have, it's always like set on a timer before they just eventually explode on each other and kill each other before they're back to happiness. So it was kind of cool whenever Tiffany was like, you know, I actually prefer you, Nica, and if I can keep you around over Chucky, I would love that. So then she goes, buys the house, is gonna like kidnap her, but then along with that, she's still following orders that Chucky wants. So like doing that thing with like kissing Logan, you know, insinuating that she's having an affair with her father so Junior can be pissed off, making the meatballs. And I'm pretty sure she's going to be the celebrity guest that the mayor was alluding to for the screening, because she's Jennifer Tilly, the actress. Yeah. And so she's still following orders for Chucky, but at the same time wants to get rid of him. So like, that's what is confusing. I'm like, so what's your end goal here? Or are you just like hoping that like, I don't even know what she's hoping for. My only thinking of why Fiona was tied up is because she knows that Nica transfers back and forth, and it's just safer to have her tied up while there's already other versions of Chucky running around. So it's not like he's suffering all that much. But yeah, I hope that's something they address and what exactly is going on there, because I can't tell if they're at odds or they're still working together.
It's both at all times, it seems. CP?
Yeah, again, another great thing about the Chucky universe being as consistent as it is, you can like trace the lines, and it would put a little bit of sense to their little argument in the flashback from the most recent episode, because Chucky killed adult Tiffany in a bathtub. They have very, very heated exchanges when they get upset with each other. So I could see it where Chucky does something that pisses her off to the point where she's like, you know what, I'm gonna go with Prime. $11.99 a month. It would make sense, like, and it gives you something else, because they always give and take and give and take, and all right, we're in a down spell. I would like that. It would make me feel better about, like I said, everything they showed us in as far as flashbacks are concerned in 7. I was just like, but why though?
I'm with you. The flashbacks were really, I won't even say acceptable, because that was the one part, the whole like the new origins of Charles Lee Ray. That was the main part of the show where I was like, oh, that's the easiest thing to fuck up. You better be careful. So they, I liked most of the flashbacks, but now it just kind of seems like they're doing it for the sake of having one when there's not really anything significant going on at this point. And him putting on that jacket and leaving, it's like, okay, well, he's going to hang out with Eddie Caputo and now he's going to get shot. That's literally all that's left.
Right.
So,
you could have spent this episode like developing Eddie, like just have them re-meet up and just start that before, lead that into Child's Play.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
maybe
with
they'll
you.
do it next week. I don't know.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Tune in at Wednesday at 9 or whatever. The big
there.
giveaway at 9.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Couple more super chats really quick, and then we'll wrap it up. I absolutely love the show, but I am ready for Chucky to be in one doll and not in any human. Just hoping Mancini is getting this out of his system. I'm having fun with it, but I kind of agree with you. I'd like to go back to simplicity, have one Chucky doll, but we'll see. It might get even crazier. And then we just got a little donation from Tiffany, so thank you. Now to wrap up, do you guys have any more thoughts on this episode
Cody,
we didn't get out? Yep.
Real quick, I don't just want to help out with the chat. Somebody super chatted. Have you guys heard of that Megan doll movie for $2 from MKF 30?
Megan doll.
It's a Blumhouse movie that James Wan is producing. It's almost has the identical plot of the Child's Play remake, where it's going to be a scientist who builds like a robotic doll to be helpful for his niece, and then it's obviously going to go evil. Blumhouse announced it. They have a cast, but I don't know anything else other than that.
Blumhouse, yay.
So it's one of 175 projects
Basically.
over the next 3 years.
Here's 50 bucks. Make me $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yikes. So
It's just
Yep,
another
there we
killer
go.
doll movie to look forward to, I guess.
exactly. So now you get to see if everybody puts their money where their mouth is. So everybody said that the Child's Play remake would have been so much better if they didn't call it Child's Play.
Yep.
Well, here you go.
Let's
If
see.
this one's as good or better, you better freaking support it, because it ain't called Child's Play. Oh, Megan Doll movie. I hope that's not the title. Megan Doll. That's Anyway, was there any thoughts, plot points, any kind of speculation on where things are going that you guys wanted to get out really quick before we wrap up, or did we pretty much cover anything?
I
Everybody's
feel like
good?
that's it.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a bloodbath. I think there's gonna be a lot
I
of
hope
deaths
so.
next episode. I mean,
I
that
keep,
many
I
Chucky
think
dolls,
it's
you
just
have
gonna
to
be
have.
it's going to be a bunch of Chucky dolls running around causing chaos for some big plot point that hasn't, in my opinion, hasn't been revealed as to what's going on.
Exactly. I keep thinking Gremlins.
I don't really like that. I kind of like, I really just want one Chucky, like going back to simplicity. Like it's too much, man. It's, in my opinion, I think one soul entity, in my opinion, is like scarier and, more believable, even though we're talking about like a killer doll. I mean, let's be real, it's already kind of goofy, but like, I don't know, man, like just if we're going to try to base this in reality at some point, I just think having like 100 good guy dolls like running around kicking ass, it's like, I don't know, it kind of just feels like small soldiers or something, you know what I mean? It's
And
like,
you know, some of those dolls are going to die so easily. They're just
Yeah.
gonna be
Yeah, like, it's like some of them are
stormtrooper
gonna-
deaths.
yeah, some of them are gonna
just a
suck. Like,
lawnmower.
yeah, exactly.
They got to
They
be
can't-
running
none
out
of
of
them
those
could
good guy
shoot.
dolls. I mean, she's clearly special ordering them. It's not like she's going over to Costco and just, wiping out the whole shelf of good guy dolls. Every single one's getting hand delivered in paper. So who knows? Maybe by the end of this season, that'll be the thing that Chucky's left with, is they kill all of his other dolls that he's set up, and now he's got one good body left, and the eBay price is too high for the rest of the good guy dolls out there.
Just a
we were
bidding
pretty
war.
lucky that Jake had $350 exactly in his
Yeah.
pocket that moment.
As
Didn't
as
even,
you do.
Didn't even
like when you're
count it. He's like,
15 or
yeah,
whatever.
here.
Yeah, he did the Matthew McConaughey thing. Feels like 350. Oh man. All right, guys. Well, that is our spoiler chat of episode 7. I appreciate both of you guys being here. This was a blast. It was a very good conversation, and I'm going to put the channel links for all of these guys in the description. It's not there at the moment, but as soon as we get off live, I'm going to put it there. So be sure to subscribe to Willis Screedia for CP, 3C Films for Chris, and Stay Metal Ray for Metal Ray. So we've got one more episode left, guys. It's next week, Tuesday. You will have my reaction review, whatever you want to call it, as soon as the episode airs. And then I'm going to try my best to have it where we had the premiere episode, where it's me, CP, and Brian, the Off Drop Stream trilogy. But we got to get Brian caught up. So that's a big if. But that's my plan, is to do that for the finale. But anyway, I appreciate you guys being here. Chris, is there anything coming up on 3C Films that we should keep our eyes peeled for over the next week? I know a lot of it's just kind of as the news drops, but is there any projects
as the
coming
news
out?
drops, and probably just trying to get the last bits of drops of Spider-Man before it goes away.
Yep, there you go.
Spider-Man, yeah. That's about it.
Ray, what do we got to look forward to in the world of metal for the next week?
For me personally, I'm actually going to be doing like a miniature tour. I'm going to be playing in Jersey, then getting on a plane, flying to California for 2 shows. One's at the Whiskey
Sweet.
A Go-Go, the legendary venue, which
Nice.
is super rad.
Wow.
Yeah. Then we have a show on the 16th of December. Then on the 18th of December, we're playing in Brooklyn, New York. So it's like I'm going to be all over the country. Yeah, like
That's so close.
all of a sudden I'm the busiest guy I know. It's super rad, and I'm super excited. So on my channel, I'm going to do my best to try to vlog that and share this experience with
awesome.
with my channel. Yeah, thanks, man. I'm really excited. So that's what I have to look forward to, and it's going to be pretty wild ride.
So what I'm getting out of that is your band, like all the other metal bands, completely hate the Southeast, and you just make a giant beeline for the West.
A comedy trip.
Every
That's-
band, dude. Stone Sour was the worst because like 3 tours in a row, it was like a whole beeline. Like as soon as they hit like South Carolina, they just shot to Texas, and it was like, what the hell? Like, what about all of us?
No kidding, man. Nah, dude.
Oh, man.
I have a soft spot for Georgia. I was stationed down at Fort Benning, Georgia. So like, as soon as we can, like maybe early 2022, we're thinking about just going up and down the coast. And I'll be sure to do my best to go, a little bit into Georgia as best as I can. Were you by Savannah?
I'm close to Savannah, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So like
Pretty close.
that's not too bad. It's kind of on the route. But anyway, man,
Most
we'll get
people
down
go
there.
to either Atlanta or Jacksonville, Florida is about as close as anybody ever comes to me, and that's like a rare, like
Okay.
once every 8 years.
A
It's like,
different
holy shit,
state.
Alice Cooper's coming to freaking yeah. CP,
I'll get down there, man.
Well,
yeah, man. Let me know. What do we
quite
got?
quite the coincidence. Nope.
Screws me up every
Yeah.
time.
Steve he's added a contribution to my latest, which is August 1999, and if you watch the episode, Ray absolutely encapsulates what I wanted to do this series for, and his story
Hell
is
yeah.
basically everything from what I wanted to do with this series. It's not so much about the movies; it's about what they mean to you. And again, the shitty thing is, I recorded my part before his, so he tells this heartfelt story, and I have to edit to me just like. So anyway, this is what happened.
Oh man.
It's like Jesus Christ, tough crowd, dude. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, that is up as of last night, and already a lot of stuff. September might be out pretty quick, so we're moving quickly with the 1999 series.
Absolutely. Check that out, guys. It's a very cool series. Now, if you haven't, you have the entire year up to August to catch up with. It's essentially talking about 1999, all the big hit movies, and even some pop culture stuff that happened, but going for personal stories. Like, for example, the one that I did on the same episode he's talking about was Detroit Rock City.
Oh,
to where I
sorry,
tell
Cody.
No, you're good. I tell a story about how I was staying with my grandfather and I was so homesick that the only comfort I got was finding these movies for the first time, and one of them was Detroit Rock City. So it's very different and very entertaining. So please support it. CP edits his ass off with every single video like that he does. And as far as my channel, I mean,
Really cool
we're
stuff.
wrapping up the Resident Evil series. I just dropped my review today for the newest film. We're going to have a spoiler chat on Friday.
Nice.
Hopefully CP can make it. Depends if he can get out to the movie or not. So that's a question mark. But we're going to have Rudy from Rudy's Movie Reviews, the guy that I did my video game rankings with. And I'm trying to get Sean Chandler as well, because Rudy has been playing the games since 96 when they first started. I started in 2005, right there in the middle, right when Resident Evil 4 dropped. And then Sean either has never played the games or has got extremely
Limited
slim
knowledge.
experience. So we're going to get a very wide array of how you felt about a movie that's 100% for the fans. So that should be very fun. And then a ranking on Saturday. As far as next week, I haven't really planned it beyond Dexter and Chucky. So that's what you got to look forward to on this channel. Thank you guys all for watching. Have a great Thanksgiving, as well as all three of you guys. And
too.
we will see you in a week for the finale of this bitch.
Lots of
So-
Bye,
strings to
guys.
tie.
Yeah. Everybody have a good one.